we are approaching the final task of this program, and today we will structure our call slightly different. So entire 3 months that we've been working together, I was doing a demo, right? But today, starting from today, it will be your turn to demonstrate what you guys have learned throughout these sessions, throughout this program. And here is how I do this. We'll have probably these and one more last or maybe 2 last sessions. Today, we will set an objective, and I will expect this to be more collaborative rather than me just doing a demo. We will outline the implementation plan, and later in the sessions, of course, I'll be there in chat for you to assist you in case you have questions during implementing, during preparing, and closer to the next or the session next week, I will ask any of you guys to act as a volunteer and do the demo of the final solution. No need to explain basic concepts, no need to teach, no need to write live coding. Just demonstrate some diagrams that you'll create, some code that you have written, and then that the solution has been implemented. And the task will be to build infrastructure for running a WordPress site on AWS. For those of you who are unaware, WordPress is an open source content management system. Content management system means like a website builder. It uses PHP, it uses Apache, it uses MySQL as a database. So examples of sites backed by WordPress can be truly impressive. So for example, it allows to build very different things, like hopefully this one will be beautiful. Let's check. Oh yeah, for example, this one. It's in German. Who knows German? How to minimize this? No. That's a bummer. Let's take another one. Facebook newsroom. For example, this one. That's all created on a platform called WordPress. And just like any other website, there should be some infrastructure that hosts the website itself. So basically, we'll need to store data in the database. We will use RDS for that. We will manage database password using Secret Manager. The actual web server nodes should be highly available and auto-scaled. So we will use Amazon auto-scaling. The installation process itself should be automated without any intervention. We will use user data, and so on, so on, and so on. Basically, your task is to use knowledge that you obtained during this program to achieve a real task. Let's say you come to your next job or you have a contract opportunity and they are telling you, we want to run WordPress, please give us infrastructure for that. And it is completely up to your judgment, your decision, and your responsibility to make any architectural decision. If, for example, you don't like System Manager and you want to use SSH, and if you can justify this, sure, why not? Feel free to use SSH. If you would like to, for example, I don't know, host your DNS name in some third-party provider, not in Route 53, go for it. It's like I've shown you the tools, and now it's your turn to craft some masterpiece of your own that belongs to you using these tools. I will not show any demos for this part. I want you to kind of take it as a final challenge. And then you can upload it to separate GitHub repository and demonstrate, for example, during an interview, if you would like to impress an interviewer or whatnot. Again, tools, completely your choice. For example, also, if you don't feel comfortable yet deploying it to Kubernetes, no need for that. You can just run as a Docker container or install WordPress using just user data directly on the instance. Completely up to you. If you want to split like in different levels or don't use level structure, don't use remote state, same again. But be ready to justify each architectural decision that you've made. Okay? Does it sound interesting, exciting, or you want me to just do this and show it to you?
Well, it sounds exciting as a task, as a final test.
Okay, very good. So the rest of today's session, I want to dedicate and make it as interactive as possible, guys. Let's do some decomposition and planning. I mean, on a job, the business comes to us and say, we want this, right? And it's our responsibility as engineers to come up with small actionable tasks that allow us to like structure the work and like eat huge elephant in several attempts, right? So I will open a whiteboard and my notepad, my code editor, and we will start. So the overall task is to create infrastructure for running a WordPress website. And the question is, what small baby steps, as small as possible, we need to take in order to like maximize chances of success? Or also, for example, like, sorry, 1 second, let me reopen it. Yeah. So what baby steps we need to perform in order to achieve these and how should we structure this? Yes.
Like the smallest step to start with, in my opinion, is first creating the GitHub repository and creating the branch. Like first creating the README, then creating like the first branch, and we start working on each component in our infrastructure.
Yes. But how do we version this? That's very important. What's the main criteria of a good like version and milestone? Okay, let me uncover more on this. So each small iteration must demonstrate ideally some working prototype, right? So first we build a skate, after the bicycle, motorcycle, quadricycle, the car, right? We increment, but at any given point of time, we are able to demonstrate final result. Why also it is important? Because if, for example, 1 week won't be enough, at least you'll be able to demonstrate what you have so far, right? Or if a manager, for example, comes to you and say, demonstrate to me right now what you've done, you will just pull the latest pull request and show you, here is how it works now, here is what I'm planning to improve, right? And we need similar small baby steps, right? Let's think about this. So probably WordPress, even if you heard about that, you haven't installed it, right? So you need to familiarize yourself also with WordPress. You need to try WordPress, right? And if you jump into immediately building in on RDS and with secrets manager and with everything, there will be too many moving parts. We need to add one after another. So after we created a GitHub repo, perhaps we might want to configure a VPC, right? And a couple of servers. Probably one single server. And once we have this server, what should we do next?
We should we should install WordPress, and let's try the database inside the server firstly, and then move it to RDS.
Yes, very good. But how do we install WordPress? I mean, manually, automatically, or some combination, user data, I don't know, Docker.
User data.
Okay.
Yes.
I'd suggest, so here is the thing, very important rule. You should either be 100% confident about the thing you're trying to automate, or first make sure it's working without automation. Because now we have two components, WordPress itself and user data. User data might fail, and we might have troubles trying to understand why it failed, right? So my recommendation is first you install WordPress manually. And use the database on the server. So you should be able to split it in smallest parts and reliably identify in case the whole system is failing, which part is not working, which part is not operating. After that, once you have this manual, what should we do better? Probably automate using user data, right? So we can effectively redeploy everything, right? 8. And please jump in and correct me if you have some alternative opinions. What is next? Yes.
Maybe try now implementing it as a Docker container.
Docker container, but where will we have a database? Will it run in the same container, in a separate container? We still have it on the same server.
Yeah, so as a priority, the database should be like replaced with the RDS.
Yeah, probably
Okay.
it's a good idea to put database into RDS. So move database from local, so from the server to RDS. And very important point, both here and here, use don't commit DB password into GitHub, right? So it should be both for automating with user data, with local database, and moving database from the server to RDS. So you'll need to come up with some additional automation within user data that will extract the database password either from variable or from secret manager and put it into proper place in WordPress config file. Okay, very good. Next suggestion is build run WordPress as a Docker container. Any objections? Or everyone agree with Fadia?
Well, if you are going to use EKS as like the final infrastructure, yes, Docker is the best solution. But if we are using EC2 as the main service, we will be maybe auto-scaling a load balancer.
Yes. Before or after building it as a Docker container?
Before.
Before. Okay. I would say that there is no difference between in order from this point of view. We can do both before and after. These steps do not depend on each other. But overall, yes, we need to make it that auto-scaled. And we also need to add load balancing. And don't forget that after each step, we should be able to like have something that is working. Otherwise, when we break somewhere in between and move forward without checking, right? We might end up not being able to find out what exactly went wrong, why and where, and how to fix this. We have auto-scaling, we have load balancer, yeah.
Can we replace the two last like tasks as auto scaling and add load balances in the case we're implementing in ETS? Like if we're implementing ETS, there's no need for this.
Yeah, good question. Yes, but perhaps you would like to first have it auto scale load balanced, and if you have time, you can improve it to have it migrated to EKS and simply remove this intermediate step. But that's up to you. If you're confident that you can do this with EKS right away, go for it. Otherwise, step-by-step approach. And what I am demonstrating to you is more like an idea. It is not prescriptive. It doesn't mean that if we say that now, you should follow it. You will sit with yourself and either like decide, make your own decision to follow this plan or create your own plan. If you think you can do better, or if you think that other approach is more feasible. And like in EKS, there are significantly more things, by the way, that you'll need to think about how to configure. For example, EKS will also need to be auto-scaled, by the way. Or how would you assign DNS records to load balancers that are created by Kubernetes? You're no longer able to do this with Terraform. And that's completely different set of questions. So that's why I'd rather stick to this, I would say, traditional approach. And if we are able to do this well and still have time, then also migrate this over to EKS. Definitely. Let's do this. So move to EKS. This one will be like a last step, I would say. So once we have auto scaling and load balancer, what also we don't have? What other maybe security measures, maybe something else do we need?
We need to configure our security groups.
Security groups there already. You can't start a server without a security group. It's like non-functional requirement. Load balancer needs a security group. Server needs a security group. Database needs a security group. It's there already by this time.
Maybe assign the DNS.
Yes, very good. DNS. What else? I believe HTTPS, right? Also, in the meantime, somewhere during the planning phase, it might be a good idea, maybe even to each step, create some diagrams. And you'll definitely need more than one diagram. Example, you need networking diagram, which demonstrates routes, availability zones, and so on. Perhaps there might be separate diagram for security, which demonstrates which security group he has which boundaries, how and under which condition they allow network communication between each other. And you don't have to mix all of them together. No need to overload everything on a single diagram. It is okay to have multiple diagrams for different audience. Or maybe user flow diagram that will demonstrate that, for example, a user resolves the DNS name, then comes to load balancer, which redirects it to an auto-scaling group that connects to the database, and so on and so on. Or maybe you can plan in advance the folder structure of your Terraform templates. So I believe probably it's worth doing this even before we start implementing itself, so we better realize what and how goes where and what is connected to what. Okay. What else we might want to add? So usually during real plannings in real companies, there is also, so we have decomposed and created a separate tasks, and usually now people kind of estimate how much time will it need, but I believe we will omit this step. So yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. Let me share it in our group chat. And like the overall question is, how much time you think you will need for this? Because that's like probably like it seems to me like that's like really redoing everything that we've been doing like for a while, from zero, from scratch, assembling it into a single piece.
Well, it's not actually like redoing the same thing as maybe for myself, I would be using public modules, which would be easier.
Mm-hmm.
But estimating like maybe 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Very good. So let's, yeah, Fadya.
I agree with him. Like, I think it's gonna be like 2 weeks max.
Mm-hmm. Let's do this. Next session, let's connect one more time, and you guys will demonstrate just your diagrams and your own plans similar to this one. Okay? And from that point, yeah, 2 weeks from now, 1.5 weeks from Thursday, we'll schedule the final demo. Okay? Very good. Very cool. So yeah, then our planning is over. And what additional questions do you have? Okay, then if there are no questions, today's session was shorter. The question.
Yes, I was reading about Terraform, and there's this concept of inheritance. A parent, yes, a child module. So I was reading dumps for the exam, and I don't remember like we discussing inheritance between modules.
Yeah, we haven't discussed this, but that's not that like complicated. This happens like when one module calls another module. In long story short, so why we might need this? Yeah, we might have a module that creates a bucket, for example, right? And also we might have a module that creates some, like, for example, let's say a microservice A needs 3 buckets in a table. Yeah, and we will have a module that creates all the required resources for this microservice A, which in turn calls module for a DynamoDB table and module for several buckets. And that's basically what module inheritance means.
Okay.
More questions? Okay, so if we don't have anything else, I wish you guys have a good evening, and I am excited to talk with you next Thursday and see your diagrams and your plans.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.